Story 1. The original caution in Dune wasn't about thinking machines. It was about the men who controlled the thinking machines. That pretty much sums up my concerns. Story 2. Reasonable, but like most fears, it is mostly pointing in the wrong direction. Go back 20 to 30 years and you will see all kinds of movies about the dangers of the internet, war games, the net, and Lawnmower Man, all about the potential for some evil hacker to cause massive havoc by getting control over all our now connected machines. You will not find a single movie about any of the things we actually should have been afraid of, like our consensus reality getting shattered and conspiracy theories running rampant because the glut of information has made us really bad at distinguishing truth from falsehood. The con men now have megaphones just as loud and official-looking as the mainstream news, or app gamification honing dopamine addiction to a science, so that millions of people are just mindlessly scrolling all day. It will be similar with artificial intelligence. There absolutely are things to fear, but it will be nothing like what most people imagine we should worry about. The people who are afraid now will be blindsided by what comes and will probably end up unwittingly helping along the worst of it. Story 3. I'm a college professor, and it is astounding how much work being turned in is artificial intelligence. The first assignment I give at the beginning of the semester is an introduction to themselves, and I still get artificial intelligence garbage. Listen, I know some assignments can be nonsense, and I know artificial intelligence is helpful for guidance. But what I found is that I have a growing number of college students who literally cannot do anything without it. Write an email? Artificial intelligence. Resume? Artificial intelligence. Work? Artificial intelligence. Opinions? Artificial intelligence. There is no more critical thinking, and that is what scares me. Story 4. It's already being used to replace many artists, writers, technical writers, and office workers. It's putting people out of work solely for the benefit of the mega-rich, and it's incredibly damaging to the environment. It's not sustainable long-term, and it's incredibly detrimental to people in the short term. Not to mention the mindset it's instilling in people who think they are artists by using those awful artificial intelligence art generators, or the horrible detriment it's going to cause to the interpersonal skills of people who get addicted to these artificial intelligence character chat rooms. There is some beneficial use of artificial intelligence, but it's ethically awful in its current implementation. Story 5. I don't think most people are afraid of artificial intelligence. I think most people are afraid of human incompetence channeled through software. Large language models are not intelligent. They're autocorrect on steroids, and we're all going to discover that they're another hype-driven bubble, just like the blockchain from a decade ago. Story 6. Artificial intelligence combined with fascism could make 1984 look like a utopia. In the worst-case scenario, the fascists plug everyone into eternal torture machines until the heat death of the universe. Think about it. People like Stalin really do enjoy causing as much misery as possible. If artificial intelligence and modern technology were available during his life, it's likely he would use it to inflict total misery onto people. Story 7. Appropriate and warranted. This new technology, and we don't know what it will do yet. In a very short amount of time, it's already caused significant economic changes. At least 1/3 of employers have said they've already replaced some workers with artificial intelligence, while about 29% of employees have said some or all of their job can be done by artificial intelligence. Beyond economic impacts, there are many other unknowns. How far can it go? How much influence can it have? Can artificial intelligence diagnose better than a doctor? Can it be a doctor? Can it be an attorney, a prosecutor, or a judge? We don't know what will happen because this has never happened before. New things and the unknown are frightening. Story 8. My fears are based around data protection and uninformed users who don't understand the implications of certain input data they feed models. It's a fear that has already proven true a few times in my line of work, with users dumping personal and sensitive information into unprotected large language models because they couldn't be bothered to do what they are paid to do. No amount of training seems to be able to prevent it. It's just too easy to drop a file in or copy and paste raw data into these systems. Example, reports had to be written. They are tailored to individuals with specific needs, containing sensitive data. Someone carelessly feeds it into a large language model to get it to do the work for him. 2 weeks later, Complaints are rolling in. The reports are strange. They are too similar, and some of them have incorrect or non-factual details. Personal data ended up with the wrong recipients, with names and details mixed up. No proofreading was done. Full trust was given to the machine. What an absolute mess that was. Large language models are great tools to use, but people treat them like some kind of miraculous solution. 52% of returned information is incorrect. These are not living, thinking systems. They are just language models. Story 9. I'm not that afraid of those using artificial intelligence or those who are generally involved in developing it. I'm afraid that the people in charge of regulating it have no idea what they're dealing with. Story 10. They are right to be afraid of it. Artificial intelligence steals human creators' content, cuts it up, and reassembles it into something else. The entire business model is based on wholesale theft, and not only are the companies stealing content, but their aim is also to make the content creators unemployed while the artificial intelligence owners become billionaires. How would you feel if I told you I was going to make your children live in poverty because it would make me rich? That's what is happening. Story 11. I'm a mechanical engineer. Artificial intelligence doesn't scare me. Firstly, anything that artificial intelligence can do easily has already been automated out through either my optimization code, Excel documents, or basic standard operating procedures. At the end of the day, I'm very lazy, and if I can get software to do it for me, I've already done it. Secondly, the product manager doesn't know what he wants. If the product manager doesn't know what he wants, how can we expect artificial intelligence to figure out what he wants? Story 12. Eventually, we will need to come to terms with the fact that, going forward, many professions will be done by artificial intelligence. This means many jobs simply will no longer exist. In a purely capitalist society, that's unsustainable. We might want to figure that out sometime soon. Story 13. I am a senior systems analyst. The fear is completely justified. I am scared out of my wits because we are messing with something without safeguards and we have no idea what we are messing with. We saw what happened when the internet gave everyone their own personal radio station. Now, we are giving everyone a weapon of mass destruction. As George Carlin put it nicely, pack your things, folks, we are going away. Story 14. I think people's fear of artificial intelligence should be higher than what it is on average, but not it's the end times either. No country on Earth is ready for what artificial intelligence is already doing, and no government is even close to treating it seriously enough to manage it given how powerful it already is. Weak data laws, weak regulation around displacing people, no safety nets anywhere. I don't see nuclear winter yet, but I see a lot of people who can't afford food. Story 15. I think people need to realize this is not going away and will continue to improve. Your job is not safe, and we don't know what will happen next. Maybe we reach artificial general intelligence in 3 years or thousands of days. We do not know. We barely even know how to evaluate them. Every benchmark we have gets broken, and we have trained models on all the open data available on the web. They are, pound for pound, more knowledgeable than the average human across tasks. Just learn to deal with it, I guess. Story 16. Fear of new inventions is normal and well documented. The fear is usually only partly founded, but progress always requires sacrifices, often unwilling, even when it ends up being a net good for humanity. A lot of people's jobs will probably be replaced by artificial intelligence. Some of them will adapt and be successful elsewhere. Some of them will not adapt and their lives will fall apart. Artificial intelligence will also probably improve the lives of millions, if not billions of other people. And some people whose livelihoods are ruined by artificial intelligence will be helped by it in other areas of life. Cars put a lot of farriers out of business. Story 17. AI does not care. If it had the operational capability and capability of self-sufficient and self-sustained development, it would remove the virus from Earth because it simply makes sense. That destructive virus on a macro scale is humans. Story 18. It won't be very scary in the long run. As artificial intelligence-generated content fills up more of the internet and it becomes harder to distinguish from human-made content, the people providing AI datasets to learn from will have increasingly difficult times finding the correct datasets. As AI basically inbreeds, it will look more and more unintelligible. As AI starts to become less reliable, The wealthiest individuals will then have to bring humans in. Humans on top. Story 19. Well, stupid people. I can discern what is or is not artificial intelligence, but I've learned that this isn't a common trait to have, and people I once thought highly of are subject to lies and nonsense from artificial intelligence. That's what terrifies me. Story 20. I'm worried, but not in a Skynet is going to start the robot uprising and enslave humanity kind of way. More of a people are going to use artificial intelligence to solve problems and carry out tasks that it is in no way qualified to do, simply because it is faster and cheaper than a human, and several industries are going to suffer greatly for it kind of way. Story 21. There's nothing scary about the technology. It's here and it's going to advance. Regulations will do nothing to slow or stop it. The real scary part is the horde of people who don't understand how it actually works. They're the ones with the real decision-making power, who may either fruitlessly hinder technological advancement while our enemies march full steam ahead, or in their misunderstanding, believe that it can do something that it can't, and may entrust critical decision-making to it that's beyond its scope of understanding. The biggest takeaway that people should get from artificial intelligence, at least in the moment, is that it can never understand context. It's a digital parrot that tells you what it thinks you want to hear. True sentience is far, far beyond our technological capability at the moment. Story 22. My biggest fear, and I think the most important one, is that once we reach a powerful artificial general intelligence, which could replace any job requiring a human brain, then what even is the purpose of humans? People find meaning in the jobs they do. It gives them some purpose in life. But if artificial intelligence can do it or do it better, then what are humans actually going to do with their lives? I guess it would inherently raise the value of arts degrees, which are more human. Even if the government somehow created a simulated economy where companies were forced to hire people, I still think that wouldn't work. Creating a universal basic income would not help at all either. Story 23. Fear always surrounds the unknown. Personally, I feel that fear at this point is irrational simply because artificial intelligence and its progression is an inevitable part of our future. Story 24. This thread really shows the difference between those who follow something and have an interest in it versus those who have no idea but speak with authority because they read something on Reddit about it or saw this thing on Facebook once. Basically, if you read a comment in this thread that says something along the lines of artificial intelligence is wrong half the time or it's just autocorrect or anything like that, you can pretty much disregard that comment entirely as someone who has no idea what they're talking about. They're the intellectual equivalent of flat earthers. Story 25. I think there is some genuine fear when it comes to outsourcing remedial and programmable labor. I think there is legitimacy in the fear of weaponizing artificial intelligence like making believable deepfakes. But all of the people afraid of the technological singularity need to cool their jets. There is nothing about large language models that gives them the ability to be sentient. All they're doing is using statistics to give you the most likely response to your question. And even if large language model chatbots became sentient somehow, they're just chatbots. The fact that you're aware that you're human doesn't mean you now have the ability to breathe water or fly like Superman. The chatbot is just a chatbot. Cannot do anything more than what your computer can do. Cannot do anything more or less with web application programming interfaces that you couldn't already do yourself. It's not going to go to air-gapped military bases, upload source code for killer robots, give itself read, write, and execute permissions on machines they don't own, and then create Terminator robots. That's not going to happen with large language models. Story 26. It's not actually intelligent, and I dislike people who promote that narrative. We can get it to do tasks for us, but it cannot do anything it's not trained for, nor does it have any semblance of intellect. Story 27. Doesn't scare me one bit. Since the emergence of social media, everything about me has been on the internet, free to whoever wants it. I'm in a hands-on job where even if they replace some parts of it with robots, it still needs a human hand. Story 28. It is mostly just the typical fear-mongering about technology destroying us that comes around periodically. I think the biggest problem with artificial intelligence is that there are people out there who think it is actually intelligent and will put it in charge of mission-critical tasks with no supervision. Story 29. There's two sides to it, or even more, and I believe it is rather warranted. 1. Job security. Depending on what you are doing, Artificial intelligence will replace you or you'll feel the pressure of the labor market. Artificial intelligence wreaking havoc unintentionally with difficulties to contain the fallout. Artificial intelligence wreaking havoc intentionally from small to extremely extensive degrees. For example, manipulation of society, consumer behavior, warfare, policymaking.